the critical explanation or interpretation of a body of work. We examine the fandoms of young and old, looking from origin to ending and everywhere in between. They say you never truly know someone until you know what they are passionate about. Sit back and buckle up. Welcome to the Exegesis.
What is up, everybody? How is it going? It is a fantastic Thursday night. So, I guess first thing out of the bag, we need to address the elephant in the room, as it were. You are here instead of Rebel Rock Radio. Steve decided that he needed a little extra time and thought it was best to have an indefinite hiatus for Rebel Rock Radio. So I hastily put a show together this afternoon, and we're going to continue to discuss what we had on tap. This week we're going to do Ahsoka, episodes 1 and 2. And so, yes, I'm telling you, welcome to the Exegesis. This is the Fandom Analysis Podcast, where we get into all the nooks and all the crannies of all of our favorite fandoms. As I said earlier, we're going to tackle Ahsoka tonight. So if you haven't seen the show, what's wrong with you? 2, there will be spoilers, I'm sure. So you might want to tune out once we get to the topic. But before we get to all that stuff, I think I'm going to have to address this blur in the background here. Let me see where I can see if I can figure this out again. It's just really giving me all sorts of lag on my end. So sorry, like I said, I put this together at the last minute. All right. And the lag is gone. There we go. Excellent, excellent. All right. So, yes, our chat is already hopping. So we have Andrew Haley. Welcome, Andrew. Thanks for stopping by. We got F-Class Heroes here as always. Really appreciate you guys over at F-Class and over at the Drop Zone. We have Spencer here in the chat. We got Luna Girl is here, as well as Patrick Griffin. So welcome to everyone. And of course, we have a bio link. We are part of the Red 5 network. I say we, but I am part of the Red 5 network. So I guess we are family. So therefore it is we. But you could always find us at the bio.link/red5. There's tons of podcasts on there. We have so many different varied voices, all trying to give you the best and the latest in pop culture, in the classics pop culture. Really good time. Go check them out there. And if you would, and you need some additional information, hold on one second. Wrong one. There we go. There is my bio link, bio.link/exegesis, EXEGESIS. And I just set that up today, so don't expect much, but it does have my Twitter link in there. So if you want to get a hold of me on Twitter, you can go do that. Let's see, I'm not sure what my new Twitter is. It's the Exegesis R5, and I'll put that in there as well. Or at Red4Charlie. That is my other account that I have that I used for Rebel Rock. So yeah, man. Still getting used to all of this. Man, how is everybody doing? Hopefully the chat is doing well. And let's see. Yeah. Man, this week I'm telling you, it's definitely been an interesting week. Not really a whole lot going on. Whatever I got going on inside my head is really doing a number as far as vision, as far as balance, headaches. I don't know when the last day I've had that I didn't have a headache. But yeah, so lots of stress. We have our first home football game coming up tomorrow. My kid's in the band, so she's getting ready to see that. Patrick mentioned in the comments. We'll address that here a little bit. But yeah, Spencer, it's a long day, ready for sleep. But yes, we are ready to talk some Ahsoka. If you missed it, Coruscant Radio Underground had a special episode that went on right before us. In fact, they still might be going on. They dropped some knowledge, let me tell you. They really got into the deep dive. I don't think that we'll get that deep. One, I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for that. But I will for the next time that we talk about episodes 2 and 3, or sorry, 3 and 4 of Ahsoka. But yeah, it's just been a week. I'm telling you, homeschool problems with computer issues, trying to deal with 2 of my kids in their homeschool. It's just, it's still hot and all the kids are going back to school. Just lots of confusion this time of year. But that's all right. This is our break from reality, almost our break from the normal, where we get to watch something that has been hyped and we've been excited about. So here, just a little bit, we're going to have to see if that delivers. Normally, of course, we talk about going to our YouTube, so you can join the fabulous live chat here. I'll have that in the show notes as far as the actual YouTube link. That way, if anybody that's listening on the audio only version, which will be out later this week, then you can come join in all the fun on Thursday nights. But yeah, I don't have a merch store, so I can no good plug in that. There's, perhaps at some point I will. Patreon. I really don't have one. Maybe. Let me know either in the comments or in the chat, or message me on Twitter. What do you guys think? Is a merch store necessary? Fun, sure, but how necessary is it? What about Patreon? Do you guys actually subscribe to Patreons? If you do, what do you expect out of a Patreon? What kind of content do you want to get from there? And if it's something I can do, then hey, we can always put it up there. But yeah, fun and excitement. I've already gotten into the other one. I'm so used to playing songs at this point, but that's all right. This is going to give us more time to discuss the main topic. But as we talked about before, there are some news items. So. All right. So yeah. Hey, Amanda joined the chat. Welcome in, Amanda. Hope your afternoon's going well. And Science Fictionary. I just plugged your show, Andrew. I'm telling you, you guys had so much knowledge. I'm not even going to come close to that. But yeah, amazing. If anyone's in the chat or listening on the audio only podcast of this, go check out the Science Fictionary Coruscant Radio Underground. They had some amazing information that they shared about Ahsoka. Really got into the nuts and bolts of it. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, news. All right. So first news up is they dropped on the same day that Ahsoka dropped, just about 3 hours earlier. They dropped a trailer for the Zack Snyder movie Rebel Moon. So how about you guys in the chat? Did you guys check that out? If you're interested in my thoughts on it, I did a live reaction on here. It should be in past episodes. Just first time I've ever tried to do a live reaction to something. I could kind of see some of the Star Wars elements in it. It kind of reminded me a lot of Gladiator. Kind of reminded me a lot of Dune. A little bit of Star Wars. There's just it looks like that they took every hit movie in the last 10 to 15 years and put it into a space motif and see what they get. So I'll definitely check it out. I loved Gladiator. I loved of course, love Star Wars and love Dune. So yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I don't think it's going to be one for the kids to watch. I believe it is rated R. They did announce it's going to be a two-parter. So the first one comes out in December, and the second one will come out in April. Amanda likes edgy, gritty Star Wars. I agree, absolutely 100%. I love Andor. To me, that is the edgy, gritty Star Wars that we've gotten so far. You know what, Spencer? I agree with you 100%. Other than a couple of things that look like lightsabers, I really didn't get a whole lot of Star Wars vibe from it. Other than I know that Zack Snyder pitched an idea, or I guess this idea to Disney. And for whatever reason, I don't know if he just didn't want to back down from the rated R or whatever. He stuck to his guns, and Disney said, no thanks, we'll pass. And he took his ball and went and played at Netflix. So, right. Yeah. I agree 100%, Andrew. 100. Hey, and Dragon Buddy's in the chat. Welcome, Dragon Buddy. Appreciate it. Absolutely. The next piece of news that I have, and I have not seen this in theaters yet, so I really am uneducated or uninformed when it comes to this one. But they're saying that I guess Warner Brothers has released a statement basically blaming everyone and their mother other than them about Blue Beetle underperforming at the box office. I think their main point was, hey, how are we to know that a tropical storm was going to hit Southern California, and that's where all of our people that go to see movies are, or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Have any of you guys in the chat seen Blue Beetle? I know Danny from Comics and Cosmetics has seen it and loved it. I don't know. It looks good from the previews that I've seen. I like Solo. And I can't pronounce his last name, but he plays Miguel in Cobra Kai. So I like him as an actor. And it looked good from what I saw. Um, I don't know. Maybe people are just that type of movied out. Maybe we've had too much of a good thing. Maybe the run of the superhero movies is over. I don't know. What do you guys think? Have we come to a conclusion that people just don't want to go to the movies to see another superhero movie, or is it more of a hey, we're going to get it in 2 months at home anyway? Why go pay $20 for a tub of popcorn and 16-ounce Coke and $5 for a movie ticket, where we could just sit at home and watch it in our own home theaters and still enjoy the experience? Maybe that's part of it, where you only get people are only going to go see movies like I don't know, Barbie or Oppenheimer or just something a little different than the normal either sci-fi or superhero movies that we've been getting for the past 20 years. So, but yeah, I don't know. Not sure exactly what the cause is yet, but I know a lot of people are like, just make something new. We're tired of it. Patrick has a good comment here. Tired of poor quality superhero movies. I agree 100%. I think a lot of the movies now are rushed. We're not really getting the well thought out, developed stories that we want to see. It's just, oh well, there's this comic arc. Great, let's go put it on a big screen and we'll do it. It's just, I mean, the special effects, it goes and it costs so much to go see a movie, and I know that. I just had a thought and lost it. It's there somewhere. Man. All right. So let's get back to the comments. Quick turnaround to time to streaming. The price going to the theater. Plus, they've been really mediocre for a while. So yeah, it's kind of like a catch-22. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Specifically DC, I can understand this one as well. Just not being clear enough about the future of the DC movies. Yeah, Blue Beetle is a little interesting. Once it was announced, people were like, "Oh, yay, we'll go see it," and then they had a studio director change, and is Blue Beetle now part of going forward, or is it one of the remnants? Are they going to are they going to roll it back in? Who knows what they're going to do with it? It's just really, really confusing. Sometimes you hit a rut of going everywhere that the thought of being able to crank the sound in your living room is so much more appealing. You know what? I agree with that 100%. Sometimes like podcasting, pantsless podcasting. I mean, we don't need to wear pants. We don't need to go to a noisy theater and wait for the knucklehead the lights go down and the knucklehead 2 rows in front of you get out their phone and start texting people. It's just, I don't know. Maybe the movie experience is not quite what it used to be. And then I have one more bit of news here. And I originally had this set. As most know, I am a pro wrestling fan. I did some small promotional work at some point. I've interviewed a couple of guys that are more into the wrestling side of it than I am. I follow it closely. I watch it. But we did have some news earlier this week, and I did put this together, and then I'll get to the other one. So if you'll bear with me. All right. So yeah, we did lose a legend in Terry Funk. Um, man, that guy was not necessarily the most gifted athlete, but he was a wrestler's wrestler. He gave everything that he had, blood, sweat, tears, everything to wrestling. So it was sad to see him pass. And then today we got more news. Bray Wyatt has also passed away. It was tweeted out by Triple H that that he had passed. This one to me hit a little bit closer. A younger guy. Really enjoyed seeing him wrestle. Hearing him talk about the business and his passion for it was really second to none. He man, his whole family is wrestling, and he carried on that legacy. I have not heard a cause yet. I'm really not sure if I want to know. I know he was dealing with a lot of issues. He was on medical leave, but we were hoping that he was going to make a comeback. Yeah, this one's tough. But, Brody has his friend again. And so, yeah, rest in peace, man. Appreciate it. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I know it's a little down, but I figured we'll just, needed to pay tribute, to some of the icons that I enjoyed. And wrestling is pop culture. So we've talked about that enough on here. But yeah, man. All right. Yeah, I'm used to musical breaks and all that kind of bouncing ideas and stuff off of people. It's a little different. It's going a lot faster than I thought. But yeah, lots of issues in F Class Heroes podcast saved my mental health. I agree 100%. When I first came out podcasting, this was 4 years ago, I guess. Star Wars Through the Ages was my podcast, and one of my first episodes was podcasting and pop culture, Star Wars as mental health, and how it can help. I don't know. I've been in so many funks over the last few years that I don't know if I'd still be here if it wasn't for family and my podcasting friends that I've made. You guys really have made an impact in my life. There's some of you that I talk to, if not daily, weekly. We talk about health issues. We talk about our families. We talk about other things other than pop culture and podcasting. Um, uh, Podcasting has brought a lot of members to my family, and I really appreciate that. So Amanda agrees. It's saved her life when she was younger. Really does help with mental health. I agree 100%. 100%. Yeah. But yeah, that one hit me hard today or this afternoon. It was just, kind of got hit from both sides with different news and trying to pull things together and scrap them together. But I'll tell you what, who's ready to talk about some Ahsoka? All right, man. Whew. We were so hyped for this show ever since Mandalorian episode 2. When we first got that glimpse of, actually, we got 2 glimpses. Man, how amazing it was to see her come. She was in the fog and starts taking apart the people, and then to see her just standing there and her total badassery self, and it's like, wow, all right, amazing cameo. Are we going to get more? And man, did we! And not only that, Morgan Elsbeth was in that as well. So yeah, all right. Where to start? I'm hoping that everyone that is still with us has seen it. If not, we're going to go over a brief overview of the show, and then we're going. Excuse me. We're going to get into some particulars here. And kind of like what we talked about last week on Rebel Rock Radio, we had a Rebels Revisited. So we talked about the different characters that we saw in Rebels because we knew it was kind of leading to this point. We talked about Ahsoka and her background and how we got from Clone Wars all the way to this particular moment in time, which we'll get to in a second because it's kind of interesting and hodgepodgey on where in time are we on this show. Pull up my other window here. All right. So just a brief synopsis. We had Baylan Skoll, a former Jedi now working as a mercenary, and his apprentice, Shin Hati. Did I say that right? Because good gravy. Assault a New Republic cruiser carrying Lady Morgan Elsbeth, who had previously been captured by Ahsoka Tano. The pair rescue Lady Elsbeth, who informs Skoll that Ahsoka is searching for Thrawn. Ahsoka and Hoyang, I think that it's really hard to hear when they're speaking in the show. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Hoyang obtain a star map to the location of Grand Admiral Thrawn and potentially Ezra Bridger before being informed of Lady Elsbeth's escape. Regrouping with the fleet, Ahsoka meets with General Hera Syndulla, whereupon Hoyang reveals that the star map is still locked. Syndulla advises Ahsoka to obtain Sabine Wren's help unlocking the map. And just as Ren unlocks the map, she is confronted by Shin, who steals the map and duels with Sabine. So that's a brief recap of episode 1. Yeah, all right. So, how do I want to approach this? Do I want to? Let's see. So how the way that I did it, I watched it the first time. I've watched it twice now. I watched it the first time and just was kind of in awe, and was sitting on the edge of my seat, like I'm sure most of you were, and the second time through, I sat down with a pad and pen. Well, pad, I say pad, but phone, and watched it again and took notes. So I kind of took notes as it went through, and yes, I agree, Patrick, 100%. Sabine, Hera, Shin, Ahsoka, wow, just wow. But yeah, so I guess we'll start with the crawl. So the crawl in this one, and I'm hesitant to call it a crawl because it's not your normal typical crawl that you see. One, it's not the Star Wars gold or yellow lettering that you see. It's red, and it's not on the tilt that we normally see Star Wars. So yeah, in fact, I was going to read the crawl. And if you're watching this and haven't seen the show yet, it is Red, the evil galactic empire, in caps, has fallen, and a new republic, in caps, has risen to take its place. However, sinister agents are already at work to undermine the fragile peace. A plot is underway to find the lost Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn, all in caps, and bring him out of exile. Once presumed dead, rumors are spreading of Thrawn's return, which would galvanize the Imperial remnants, all in caps, and start another war. Former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano captured one of Thrawn's allies and learned of a secret map which is vital to the enemy's plan. Ahsoka now searches for the map as her prisoner, Morgan Elsbeth, is transported to the New Republic for trial. So that is the crawl that we have. It was different. It was informative. Not what I was expecting. It was okay, but I think I don't even care if they would have not changed the color and kept it red. But I think if they would have given it that Star Wars tilt and have it go off into the distance, I think it would have been a little more impactful. I think it would have been a little more Star Warsy, if you will. I didn't mind the content, save for one point. And to me, this is a major point. They mentioned that former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano. As far as I can remember, she was never a Jedi Knight. She was a Padawan. She got expelled, and instead of coming back when she was innocent, she took off, went to go find herself, left the Order, left Anakin, left everything. I don't know what qualifies her to be a Jedi Knight. Yes, she helped, the rebels. She helped form Fulcrum, but so did a lot of other people, and that doesn't necessarily make them former Jedi Knights. Yes, she's force sensitive. Yes, she was once part of the Jedi Order, but she was not. She never, you know, um, did she possibly have a secret knighting ceremony with Luke Skywalker, and then, and then say, you know what, yeah, thanks for knighting me as a Jedi, but yeah, I'm gonna go back over here now. So, but yeah, Amanda really liked the crawl. Like I said, I didn't mind the information. It's just kind of how we got it. It's more of an execution problem than a content problem. Um, Jedi are no more, so who is there to correct their labeling her a Jedi Knight? That is true. I mean, but again, and that kind of goes into the opening scene that we get uh, where the ship that's carrying Morgan Elsbeth is, and it's like, oh, hey, it's an old Jedi code, and he's like, yeah, all right, let me go see these Jedi, and we see how that turned out for him. So for me, so I enjoyed we had the crawl, it went through, and then the next shot that we see is another iconic ship shot, which is indicative of Star Wars. It always goes crawl, goes to space, and then you see a ship come through, either go through or come through. And I loved it. I was like, ooh, yes, Star Wars, here we go. And then we got to the bridge. And other than a protocol droid being on there, did anybody else feel like it was more Star Trek than Star Wars? For whatever reason, I looked at it and I'm like, that doesn't look like the bridge of a starship that I had seen. It looks like something that I'd seen Star Trek rather than Star Wars. I don't know. But for me, it just kind of got that feel, and then, he's like, oh, I'll go deal with these people. He gets up and, his number one goes and sits in the seat and it swings back just like the chairs do in Star Trek. Who knows? Maybe they're the same manufacturer. I don't know. But let's see. Captain is ready to call Balin's bluff. Just the possibility of the stranger a Jedi. Yeah, if you knew more about the Jedi, send a droid like the Separatists. Oh, that's amazing. I can just imagine that now. Yeah, I mean, Jedi are supposed to be extinct. And this is, so this is set right after Mando, season 2. So we're looking at 7 years after the Battle of Endor. So there was Luke. Yeah, I mean, there's not supposed to be any Jedi left. So perhaps, right? Yeah. See, all right, good. I'm not the only one. I'm glad. All right. Maybe he's just saying that to make me feel better, but yeah, I really did. It's just the look and the aesthetic of the chair, and just the way that the people were kind of just spread out. And in the other ships that we've seen, they've always been close together, smaller cockpits, I guess, unless you're in an Imperial Star Destroyer. Yeah, and that's what I thought too, that there were some that were wearing red, but I didn't know. Speaking of red, the intro at the very, when you first when it first pops up and it has the helmets. All the helmets were in red on the first show. But then you have this scene. So the captain goes in, confronts them. He's like, "Yeah, you're no Jedi," and he's like, "Yeah, here's my identification. You're right, we're not Jedi." And then Shin Hati absolutely just massacres the detention team that's there. And then Balin goes off on a rampage and goes down this hallway, which we've seen before. I mean, Dave, you're reusing shots here and motifs. And yes, it was cool to see Balin just go through and just take out everybody on the ship. But it was so closely mirrored to Vader's hallway scene that I'm like, oh man, all right, we've already done this. And that wasn't the only time in the episode that we've seen reused shots. I don't know. And some of them were all right, I guess, kind of tying it back into Rebels a little bit. But it's just some of the dialogue was used already. Some of the blocking for the scenes was used already. The lighting, it just seems like it was just reused on there. So Elsbeth is rescued, and like I said earlier, she informs the two Sith type figures that Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn, then we flash to another scene, but I wanted to give my first thoughts on these two Sith type things. We have Balin Skull, who's played by Ray. It's not Ray Stevenson. Patterson. Oh, there it is. All right. Thanks, Jack, buddy. Ray Peterson. Or is that the guy? All right, the guy that played Balin, phenomenal job. Absolutely, I loved the portrayal. He reminds me a lot of Count Dooku. His mannerisms is that chivalrous, but don't get in my way presentation. Stevenson. Okay, I was right. Ray Stevenson. And of course, yes. He didn't make it to see all the fanfare. It was amazing job with this character. Shin, I really liked as well. What I would think of as a Padawan or apprentice, I guess you would call them. Padawans were Jedi, it's a quiet but can handle business and does what they're told when they're told to do it. Thought the casting on that was very well done. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, in all that Sith beauty. But yeah, then we get to this other planet, and it really looked like something that was straight out of Fallen Order. And I can't remember what planet it was on, but it was eerily reminiscent. I'm like, oh, I think I've played this level. It was that well done. And we see Ahsoka spelunking and going after something. And I don't know about anybody else, but as she's lining up these pedestals, I almost heard, and I could have, and I'm going back and I want to listen to it again. I think I want to try to do it with my headphones on. It almost sounded more Indiana Jones esque in while she's doing this, and I half expected her when she did these for this golden idol to come out of the statue from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I half expected that's what we were going to get. It was so Indiana Jonesy. I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. And yeah, I just the way that it lined up and whatnot. But we see it, and yeah, it's a globe, and we really don't know what it is, but we know that's what she's looking for. And of course, I don't know if, I don't think it was really explained whether or not she triggered these uh, droids to come after her when she appeared out of the tunnel, or if it was more of she was followed there. But yeah, she comes out with the thing, and there's someone blocking her path, and and says, "Yeah, we want what you got there." And she's like, "We," and then you see a bunch more appear. I actually thought, I mean, it was amazing. Kind of reminded me of Underworld, where she grabs her sabers into the ground and they spin around and she falls through into the cavern below. I expected the droids to come down there and they were going to do battle down there. But no, she cuts up through it and they start going down. And yeah, she wipes the floor with them. So I think at this point, is where I typed in the set design is on point. And I had no idea what was to come, but set design, holy crap, is this place gorgeous. All the environments that they're in, absolutely stunning. Lothal looks like Lothal. It's exactly what I would expect it to look like if it was live action. The murals on the wall, redone so well. The ships looked amazing. To me, the visual aspects of the show were really, really, really cool. Um, and the next thing that I have written down is, and I can't state this enough, and I'll say it again many, many times on here. The music. Holy crap, the music. And I'm not sure, it was Kiner that did this one as well, I think. And yeah, it was so beautiful. I absolutely, it felt like Star Wars music. And, it's not John Williams, but it felt more Star Wars music than it did for like Mandalorian. Different shows, but I really loved the music all the way through the credits. Was absolutely amazing. Something else that I noticed about halfway through this episode is they're in no big rush to tell this story. They're not rushing from plot point to plot point to plot point. They're not pulling at 13 extra threads to try to make a cohesive story. They're going slow and deliberate. And I think, and I've seen some negative comments on this, but I think that this is one of the few times where this slower pace has actually paid off. It's deliberate, it's intentional, and it sucks you in to, there's something going on. Everyone is kind of moving a little slower So what am I missing? There's got to be something else going on because we're so used to fast pace, fast pace, fast pace. It's such a welcome change that, it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, right on. Yeah, let's not be hasty. Let's savor this for what it is. And Amanda with the music. Yeah, it was. It really. This is my favorite piece of Star Wars music in a long time. Really, really enjoyed it. And so yeah, so then we get to um, a reunion of sorts. You know, Ahsoka learns that there's been a release of Morgan Elsbeth, so she goes back to Home One, to which was amazing, by the way. Love seeing Home One there. Um, you know, and we get our first introduction to Hera, and I thought Hera looked amazing. Do I want to bring up Hera now or wait till later? Anyway, um, something seems off about Hera. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the actress or the writing. Something seems off. Um, yeah, yeah. She in Dragon Buddy was saying exactly what, just a little off, and then she starts to fly, and that seems to come into it a little bit more. Um, Hera was one of my favorite characters because she in Rebels because she was that mothering, nurturing presence that kept everyone in check. Um, she referred to the rest of the crew as their kids. Um, it really I don't know. It's just, and maybe it's the makeup or an FX job or something, but it always seemed like Hera in episode one was looking out of the corner of her eye. She never really looked at somebody straight on when you're looking, and maybe it's just a bad camera angle. But when she's trying to face Ahsoka and talk to her and tell her about Sabine, it always seems like her head is tilted and she's kind of looking off the side of the side eye, and it just felt weird to me. It got better in episode two, but not by a lot unless she's flying. If she's stationary, it's just kind of wooden and just kind of eh. Um, but so then we get to Lothal, and we see they're having a commemoration day, and then um, we get our first introduction to Sabine because go figure, Sabine's not where she is supposed to be. She is off on a transport scooter speeder. And this one is not shiny, so kudos to that. About tired of shiny speeders. But the music here, again, on point. You see Sabine in Rebels, and just her personality shines through. So when you see her on a speeder, what music do you think would go along with it? Just some driving rock. And coming from Rebel Rock Radio, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was amazing. Yes, Uncle Andrew's shiny speeders over at Mos Espa. Yeah, that's he'll catch you a good deal. But yeah, I mean, it's just it was great. And then you see her hair is now long, and Sabine, the actress that plays her, absolutely beautiful. does a great job capturing that personality, that smirk that she gives is just, I mean, that's Sabine right there. Was absolutely, and my daughter was watching it with us, and she's, why are they calling her Sabine the Red? I'm like, no, it's Sabine Wren. Oh, so I had to spell it for her. And but yeah, that not necessarily a big fan of the slide under, but it was all right. Um, yeah, and of course they just like shake their head and let her go on her way. Um, yeah, that's a good question, Patrick. When did everyone receive such high promotions and titles? I'm not sure. All right, so Rebels ended right before Battle of Yavin. There was an epilogue that took place afterwards, but we don't know exactly how long after one. After that epilogue takes place. But we're now 6 or 7 years past Rebels, so a lot can happen in 6 or 7 years. But yeah, man, it's just, yeah, it was really cool. And of course, then we get a you know the first interaction with Ahsoka and Sabine. Yes, Andrew, you are. Hera being a general is an alphabet squadron. I do remember that. I just didn't remember about everybody else being commanders. But yes, so we get this interaction between Sabine and Ahsoka. And the governor says, hey, you're going to want to listen to what she says. It is, I don't know. To me, there was something off about the interactions between Ahsoka and Sabine. Other than the force sensitive part, which we'll get into here in a minute. That to me, that didn't seem like the personality of Ahsoka in Rebels, much less Clone Wars. It almost seemed like she was too stern and judgmental, and I don't know. It just something off about it, and we had. Man, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like hurt feelings or what, because it didn't work out that she didn't stay as her Padawan, but it seemed like that they were saying that Ahsoka was the one that left. So I mean, I don't know. I would have thought that after being Padawan to Anakin, she would understand the proclivities of having a difficult student. She was Anakin was a mess as a Padawan. She was a mess to Anakin as a Padawan. Sabine was probably a mess to her as a Padawan, but you'd think that she'd be more open and receptive to it, knowing what happened to Anakin and to her. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be different as we go along. So they had this interaction. Sabine goes, takes the orb, says that you know what, it's a map. And then, of course, Shin is there once it's decoded. And I thought was a really good lightsaber battle. I've seen people online, and they were not happy with it. They thought it was sloppy, and I think that's the idea, that it was supposed to be sloppy. You have two Padawans going at it with a lightsaber. Um, it's not supposed to be all finesse, and I'm really shocked that it took. Well, I guess maybe not. I was going to say, it's shocked that it took Shin that long to defeat Sabine. But Sabine is a Mandalorian, and they're just trained in the art of fighting. So that kind of evened up the odds, even if it was a lightsaber battle. She got struck through, and which I thought Roe was going to pull off the spoiler stealer of the century, but because before the drop, we were on Science Fictionary with Andrew, and Roe said something about possibility of Sabine getting killed off in the series, and I was like, oh crap, here we go. First run out of the gate, and Roe pulls one out of nowhere. We would have never been able to live that one down. But she did escape with just a flesh wound. I'm not sure I agree with that. Especially, all right, so people getting run through with the lightsaber. Qui-Gon, dead. Han Solo, dead. The captain on the ship, dead. Sabine, somehow she survived. Almost identical placements from what it looked like, but yet she's the only one that just managed to not maybe nick and cauterize a kidney or something. And, but I don't know. To me, it just seemed off that you just had somebody get run through. I don't know. I just thought it was weird that you already have, if they're going to have the captain get struck down by a lightsaber, do it in a different way than you're going to have Sabine get run through with the lightsaber. Oh, sorry. I hit a button and didn't realize that. Non-lethal shot was completely intentional. Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe because she was a Padawan, but I think that they were, they're trained. I don't know why it was, why she missed. Perhaps she sensed Ahsoka coming and just did it hastily. I'm not sure. Patrick says Sabine needs to earn the dark saber back, as she's the true leader of the Mandos. Bo-Katan might have a thing or two to say about that. And I was thinking that too, that he took his through the chest and hers was more through the abdomen. But I think it was just more of a camera angle. When I first saw it, I'm like, that's almost identical spot. And then when I watched it the second time, it was a little lower, but I didn't know if it was going to be that big of a difference. And then in episode 2, when she pulls it up and you see it, it's way lower. The shot that you see in episode 1 does not line up for where the wound is in episode 2. It's about 6 inches lower in episode 2 than where she was run through. So yeah, that was that was episode 1. And I'm talking a lot here. But episode 2, I took a few notes on. Hey, Charles, welcome in. I hope you're having a good evening. Let's see. Bailey Etter shows disappointment of having to kill Ahsoka, and these guys aren't quite dark side, light side. Yeah, I don't know if they're actually gray Jedi. It, my first thought was like separatist Jedi, and not necessarily they're in it for, or he's in it for power. He makes that quite clear in episode 2. Um, sorry, I'm having a moment here. All right, that was weird. All right. Yay, brain cancer. Hey. All right. It messes with my face every now and then, so my eye might be twitching. Yeah, it's twitching. I can see it. But it's all right. On to episode 2. Just for sake of time, I'm just going to run through these really quick, and we can talk about them. I said after episode 2, Anakin is a lot like Anakin. She's so quick to give up, and she's always willing to say that they're not ready. Oh, she's not ready. She's not ready. She's not ready. And I mean, and then Hera points out, who's to, I think it was Hera that said, "Who's to say that she's not ready?" And then Hu Yang was said about the same thing to Sabine. It's like, well, you never showed that you want, Ahsoka left me. Well, you never showed any desire to go back, which is true. I mean, it's just. It seems like it's two stubborn personalities that are having a hard time meshing together. But we know it can work because it's worked in all the cases so far. So we see. Let's see, what else did I have written down here? All right, yeah. It was really cool to see the Corellia shipyards. Last time we saw those was in Solo. So it was really cool to see another aspect of Corellia, although I was not too happy with the way that it worked out. The Empire was such a well-oiled machine. In contrast, you have this new republic, which has only been functioning for approximately 3 to 6 years, somewhere in there. And we've already seen in episode 3 of Mandalorian where there's all sorts of crazy crap going on and defectors left and right. We have this whole group that's ready to turn on people. It just really paints the New Republic in a bad light. It makes them seem almost incompetent. And I know that there's it's a large galaxy, but to me that just seems just off. They need to fix that to show some sort of strength of the New Republic. Otherwise, there's no, who's surprised that they get killed off in the sequel trilogy as easily as they did? I mean, they're a bunch of incompetent fools, it seems like. But maybe that's why a lot of people don't like the sequel trilogy. Hera just seems off, which we've already discussed. Bagelin's backstory is needed. He seems to be about the same age as Ahsoka, if not a little older. How did he survive? I really want to know what happened to him, and I don't know if we're going to get that in this series. I really don't. I think it's just going to be, hey, here's this cool bad guy. Don't know where he came from, although here's a few little breadcrumbs. I would really love to see his backstory. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. We'll probably have to read it in a book. Unfortunately, Andrew, you'll probably have to clear out some bookshelf space. But yeah, that will be an interesting book to get. Let's see. They kept hinting at there's so few Jedi. This is a reoccurring thing in both episodes. And that's true compared to where we were, at say now Clone Wars. But we have Ahsoka, Sabine, Balin, Shin, Ezra, Luke, Leia. It's like, but nobody knows about the other ones. Although we do know that Ahsoka has already met Grogu, because this takes place after um the Morgan Elsbeth episode in Mandalorian season 2, and then she's captured and taken away. Do not know if this is before she meets or after she meets Luke and Grogu at Luke's training facility. So I don't know when that happens, but it's just like, we have these two Jedi that are here, but yet nobody knows. We're supposed, some Jedi can feel each other over long distances, but yet nobody knows that any of these other people are out there. Just kind of seems odd to me. There's supposed to be only two, but that's another plot point that I have coming up. Let's see. I am really glad that they didn't do the. Man, I heard a rumor that they were going to use the Force Heal ability on Sabine, and I'm really glad that they did not do that. To me, that's just kind of cheesy. But yeah, so I was glad to actually see that scar, and it's carterized. It looked what I thought a lightsaber through the chest or through the torso would look like. Same old Chopper. I'm telling you, if there was a shining moment for me, it was seeing Chopper fly again. The interactions between him and Hera when he's looking for the tracking device was absolutely amazing. Animation come to life. I loved it. I loved the look of it. It was great. We are not necessarily in order, which is why I think that we're having the. We have to know that this is after season 2, at least the middle episode where Ahsoka took down Morgan Elsbeth. So this is after that, but don't know where season 3 falls in line with this. We don't know. I've heard rumors of Grogu training with Luke for 1 to 3 years. So that might be a difference in time as well. I don't know. Chopper was great. I really like, and I've seen a lot of people that have put down, including the Night Sisters. So Morgan Elsbeth is a Night Sister of Dathomir. There aren't very many left. In fact, I bet you'd get a lot more information from Andrew over at Coruscant Radio Underground in Science Fictionary. He was talking about that earlier on his podcast. I'm really glad that they included them. It was really interesting to see them in Fallen Order. So I'm glad that they included them here. I thought she looked great. Of course, to me, the only other visual representation that I've seen is in the video game. And she looked exactly like I thought that she was going to. So it's another dimension of Star Wars that's been mentioned kind of in the fringes, and now it's kind of coming back together. And I think that was the last comment that I had there. So I know that Um, green green force magic is always welcome. Yeah, well, I don't know if that's some different type of green that you're probably talking about there. Um, but yeah, I really like the way that they're headed. I like the story that they're telling. They're not pulling 15 other threads like Mandalorian did. Uh, it's and I'm still not sure exactly what they're building. Um, other than a Stargate or some sort of portal to reach another galaxy that I'm guessing that the Purgles can reach on their own. Uh, but this is supposedly where they are. Um, yeah. I, I I'm not sure I enjoy because Star Wars has always been in a galaxy far, far away. Agreed. Yes, David Tennant was amazing on that, Patrick. Absolutely, 100%. Um, so, in I've seen a lot of people like, oh, it's only one galaxy. Star Wars is one galaxy, and well, if you're going to expand a universe, as far as a pop culture or a uh, a whole um, can't think of the right word that I'm trying to use here. But Star Wars as a whole, if you want to expand that, you might have to go to other galaxies to tell future stories. So big, um, I'm not a big uh, not going to hate on it just because it's going to open up a different galaxy. I don't think it's going to be like a multiverse, like a different dimension, like Marvel is doing. Um, but another star system, sure, why not? As long as they're not going to say, "Oh, here's this version of Luke over here, and this guy's Han Solo over here," and and it's completely different and whatnot. Um, but yeah, so far, yeah, David Tennant was amazing. Um, Ray Stevenson is amazing as Balin. I really am enjoying this story that they're telling here. Um, there are a few issues. And I think the last one and the one I'll end with um, is I don't understand why they had to make Sabine force sensitive. She wasn't force sensitive previously. Um, so why push that narrative that all of a sudden she's force sensitive? And even Huang said that when it comes onto the scope of level, Ezra was up here, and you're scraping the bottom barrel. I mean, I don't know. I think they could have told uh, a similar story without her being force sensitive. She hung around for Ahsoka for so long. So what if maybe Ahsoka taught her in the art of a lightsaber, but she's not force sensitive? That's possible. Why not? I don't know. Patrick, let's see where to go. The Secret Inquisitor. Marok, I think is the name. Which I thought a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the eighth brother, but the eighth brother is dead. But the armor looked right. So is it Is it really an Inquisitor? I know. Man, I know that there's supposed to be a rule of two, but all the Sith are supposed to be dead. So then you have these two guys, or these two show up, and now there's a third. So who's to saying that, that it's they just didn't train somebody else? It's very possible. Lots of rumors going around. It's Ezra. It's this person. It's that. I don't think it's going to be anybody that we've seen. In fact, I even joked around that it was secretly Luke. He is already just trying to demolish his Jedi temple before it gets started anyway. But yeah, Charles says she wielded the dark saber quite well, unlike Din, and she was trained by Kanan. Very true. Very true. But you would think that they would have sensed or would have brought up that she was force sensitive in Rebels. Just my thought. I mean, I don't know. But yeah. Let's see. Amanda says, thinking it's the last Inquisitor. Yeah, it looks exactly like the Eighth Brother. So maybe someone else is wearing the Eighth Brother armor. That's what I'm trying to think of, is that, and I got to remember how the Eighth Brother died. But I know that he did. So maybe somebody else has the armor, and I don't know. And yeah, Luke's slumming it with a couple of dark side users after Endor. Why not? You never know. He was in a dark place, and he just needed a vent, and one thing led to another. I don't know. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes as far as the show. Ahsoka. I think it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah. What do you guys think? Ready for more? Ready for the next? Let's see. I guess we got 3 and 4. Got a couple minutes here, so I can shoot some theories out real quick. I don't think that we're going to see Thrawn until the very end. I don't know if we'll see Ezra. I really don't. I love the hologram that they had of him. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to actually see them, or if that is, because all this is leading up. So we have Ahsoka, we have Mandalorian, a Skeleton Crew. If that ever comes out, they're supposed to all mesh together, and it's going to culminate in a movie. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that all comes together. I have faith in Dave Filoni as storytelling. These are his creations. He has the blessing of George Lucas to do this. I'm ready to bring it on. But yeah, that's what I got for today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back Thursday at 7 Central, 6 Mountain. That's 8 Eastern. And we are going to talk about, what did I have on the docket for next week? Not Ahsoka. We are going to talk about podcasting post-pandemic. We're going to, I believe I'm going to have a few guests on for that show. I'm not going to reveal who they are, because you guys might not show up, or you might show up and just banter people in the chat like you normally do, but that's all right too. But yes, I'm excited about this. The exegesis is back. I hope you guys are excited as I am to bring you some more content. Go check out my Rebel Moon trailer reaction. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff and dropping it on YouTube, and I'll be posting about it on Twitter. So you guys have a heads up. Just make sure that you stay tuned. After me is WSTR Radio, and what do you think they're going to talk about? That's right. It's a triple threat Ahsoka marathon. So grab your popcorn, grab your beverages, tune in to WSTR. They're up next. Until next time, see you later.